Good morning. Well, I've come into work a little bit early because I wanted to put a waterproof coating over the Backwoods Bungalow. Not that it's ever leaked. It's been absolutely fine for me. I know some people have had problems. Mine's been okay. But I thought, as I've got a bit of time, got the space, and I've got the gear, I might as well do it. Bit of a belt and braces approach, really. So yeah, let's get on with it. Right, what I'm going to be using is the Nikwax tent and gear solar proof. A couple of reasons. One, it's what I've got to hand. And two, I've used this many times in the past and always had quite good results with it. They're a local company to me, so it is nice to support, you know, the local people, isn't it? Local companies. Tent and gear solar proof, dual purpose, waterproof, and it's sort of like anti UV. So it does stop stuff from fading so much. Not just for tents either. You can use it on, you know, backpacks, jackets, anything really. I've had quite good results with it. I treated my my old army smock, my 95 smock cotton one, which aren't waterproof. They're just like a windproof thing. This actually worked quite well on that. Not 100% waterproof, but definitely showerproof after using it. So yeah, I would recommend the Nikwax stuff. They've got a huge amount of stuff within their range. I'll probably stick a link to their website in the description underneath. Take two. Now it's a pretty straightforward application with this stuff. Spray it on, light mist. Give it 2 or 3 minutes just to dry and soak in a little bit. Obviously concentrating on the seams and joints and stuff. And then just like wipe it over with the cloth afterwards, leave it to dry. You only wipe it over so you get sort of like an even spread, I suppose. Doesn't smell too much. Normally after being out for an hour or so, it smells completely gone. I just find it easy, and it's fairly cheap too compared with some of the other brands. So I'm going to quick shake up, because it is water based. I've had it a while, like I've had this one. It does sort of separate after a while, so a little bit of a shake. As you can see, I've got about half a can, and from memory I've done a couple of jackets, a couple of rucksacks. I've done at least 3 tents with it, and I lent it to Mark the other day and he did his tent with it as well, so it's fairly economical, as you can see. Right, I'm just going to give him a quick blast along the ridge there, and then down the side seams, along that bottom seam, and back up that seam. Now the seams are done, just give it a light dusting over the rest of it. Because of the nature of these spray guns being hand propelled, shall we say, it sometimes comes out, you get a show on camera, little blobs, where it didn't come out in the fine mist like the rest of it, which is partly why you wipe it over with a cloth afterwards. That's that side done. Leave that for a couple of minutes and I'll just give it a wipe. Now that probably doesn't show on camera, but because this tent is still relatively new and fresh, obviously the waterproofing of the tent itself is still fairly good. So this isn't soaking in much. It's sitting on the surface. But that's no bad thing. It just means that this is going to dry sort of onto the surface, and it'd be like a second layer. You won't see it once it's dry, but I just need to sort of spread it out a bit, make sure it's not any one bit wetter than somewhere else, and that'll dry up fine. Yeah, it'll probably take an hour or so to dry. but it's, you know, I'm indoors. I'm not in the sun or whatever, so it will take a little longer. But as I'm indoors and I'm at work, it's at the back of the warehouse where there's nothing going on today. It doesn't matter if it sits here all day, and I'll pack it up before I go home. Just let them dry. Right, that's the outside, all dry. The only thing left to do is the underside. Is it worth it on most tents? Depends on the tent. The Backwoods Bungalow, it's not the most waterproof thing on the underside. I have had damp come up through it before now, especially where I'm laying and sort of forcing it onto the ground. Not normally an issue for me because I'm aware of that. I normally have a ground sheet underneath it, almost like a footprint for it. But as I've got the stuff, I've got the time, I'm going to do the underside as well. It's not going to hurt. Same procedure, give it a few minutes to sort of like dry a little bit and sort of stick to the surface. Then I'll just use the cloth, spread it out, spreads it out nice and thin, dries easier, quicker. That should be done. Right, that's that job complete. Well worth doing, I think. You know, even if you did it every season, it's not the end of the world. All told, we're probably looking at 3 hours, including the drying time. The actual waterproofing and so on, probably took me 10 or 15 minutes. Well worth doing.